All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to be here. This is Sean with BlueRidgeSilverhound, and today we got the Pocket Change Market Report for June 14th, 2023. This is the midweek edition. We're going to check in with some of the usual suspects out in the variety and error world that have sold on eBay and update you guys on some of these prices. We're not really seeing too much of a summer slowdown, although there are a few coins that have dropped down to a price level that makes them a real bargain. If you've always wanted a specific error coin from the last few years that was kind of a big deal, like the Crown Die Chip 2021 Washington Quarter and a few others, now might be a time to consider buying them because there's still, I would say, plenty enough of these coins to go around. But the prices have settled to an unimaginably low price level, which might make it a little bit affordable for some folks to get in. Whereas, a year, 2 years ago, when these things were still all the rage, they weren't quite that affordable. And a quick other update on a coin that has kind of rocked the collective world for 2023. It's that Extra V Lincoln Shield Cent, the brand new 2023s. We went from a coin that was in relative obscurity. What was this thing? Well, is it anything? And then all of a sudden, we have professionals like Mike Diamond come out and, he researched the coin and did this article in Coin World. And then now all of a sudden it blew up. And, we have graded coins that have sold for quite a bit of money. Grading companies like Annex and NGC are recognizing these coins. NGC is using the Extra V moniker for the coin. However, as kind of like a swerve, it's like one thing after another. There is some talk that this may not be a mint error at all. And it could possibly be an ejection mark. So again, we're reopening the case here. Not me personally, but I'm going to keep you guys updated. Because if this thing gets debunked as far as not being an error, that's gonna do a number to these coins. The only real winner here are going to be the folks that have the coins graded by Annex and NGC. Because if word comes out that this is not a mint error, you best believe that those two graded companies will put the kibosh on attributing any more of these coins. So those might actually be rarities. I don't know. I'm really just kind of telling you the speculative talk and chatter that's going on behind the scenes, but it's going to be interesting. So we're just a couple short weeks away, until one of the bigger coin shows that I will attend. There's a big YouTuber influencer show that's primarily geared toward numismatic YouTubers and precious metals guys. So you're going to see myself there, the live coin Q&A panel. We're all going to be there in attendance. But you're also going to see guys like Rob Finds Treasure. You're also going to see Silver Seeker. There's going to be a lot of high-profile people there. It's going to be a big, bustling show. That's going to be the weekend of June 29th, the 30th, and July 1st. So that's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday show. It's a 3-day event. And then, of course, there's going to be a wide range of dealers as well. If you're looking to, take part in finding a piece for your collection, there's going to be a number of dealers in attendance. So again, this is going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, on those specified dates. It's at the Cox Business Center in Northeast Oklahoma City. I just want to let you guys know because, that this is kind of a surprise to a lot of folks, but it costs $25 to park at that particular convention center. So if you're going to be staying in town and you're not local, at a hotel or whatever the case may be, it might be better just to Uber or Lyft to the event, and that would save you a lot of money because the parking is pretty pricey. I was a little shocked, by the way. So yeah, that's a lot of updates and stuff. Again, that's only 2 short weeks away. And look forward to seeing some of you if you're going to come on by. Quick little update. So we only have 2 more Whatnot Friday coin auctions today, or this coming Friday, which is June 16th. It'll be 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be hosting, again, really nice giveaways. We got the U.S. type coins that will be available for bid. It might be an opportunity for some of you to pick up some really nice coins on the cheap. You just never know. People have gotten some pretty good deals at my expense, and I don't care. It's been a lot of fun. So if it's going to be your first time, I would encourage you guys to check it out. You might as well sign up. Use my referral link down below in the description box, and you can get yourself $15 in store credit to use right away, whether it's on my channel or someone else's. But also, I will have the link to the to this Friday's show as well. That'll be linked down to the bottom. And my last show on the 23rd, I'm going to be giving away gold to 4 different people, not just one person, 4 different people. So you might want to bookmark that show as well. That's going to be a blockbuster, and that's going to be kind of like commemorating this upcoming Tulsa, Oklahoma coin show event. So I hope to see you guys there. But let's go ahead and check things out here in the open market from eBay. These are all realized sales from the last 24 to 48 hours. Quite busy, actually. So there's still a lot of demand for errors and varieties, whether they're on the minor side or a little bit more, I guess, drastic. That's going to fetch a lot more money. First one that we have here is the 1984 P Washington quarter. This one is off center by roughly 10%. As you can see, the coin is in really nice shape. It's my understanding and from my experience that you can find these at coin shops and shows. And sometimes their bread and butter is not errors and varieties. So this might be an opportunity for you to score one of these at a coin shop for a much cheaper price. I actually just bought something similar to this for around $15, and that was a 1965 quarter. I ended up turning that coin and flipping it for $35. So I made a little bit of money there. It gives you a little bit of, you know, kind of an idea of how you can monetize from this market that we're in right now. But this one right here ended up selling for $37.99. And if I haven't said it, I'll say it one more time. We talk specifically ungraded coins. If you have to justify trying to grade any of these, you're going to be throwing your money away, in large part to the fact that these sell for themselves. There's really not a whole lot of salesmanship that you would have to do other than post really good photos. So you're going to get whatever the original listing photos are going to be, they're going to be on this list. I didn't doctor any of them or make them look better of any sort. Speaking of which, we have this one here. And no, you're not seeing things. And, you know, you could turn your phone around if you wanted to, if you're watching on your smartphone, but this is how this seller oriented their coins on their listing. So something as simple as rotating it 90 degrees, you know, it will make a huge difference in the overall presentation of your lots. But let's talk about this one here, because this is kind of all the buzz. It's had a very turbulent roller coaster ride, and I don't know where it's going to end up at. You know, is it a mid-error? Is it not? Okay, because it's going to affect the market in some drastic way, and we're kind of like knee deep into this right now. So the Extra V 2023s, again, all the buzz in the world right now. These were being found in the New York State area, anywhere from the city to upstate New York and everywhere else in between. So for whatever reason, this coin was originally dropped in a lot of those areas. Now, folks have found some outside of that area, but a fair amount of them came from New York State. So this one right here, in case you guys need a refresher, has that VDB initials for Victor David Brenner, and then an extra little tiny V right here that's about the same size as the same V in the initials. This is what kind of kicked off this revolution of this coin. So again, There's still a lot of research that's being done on this coin by other error folks, and until we get some sort of concrete evidence, we have to be mindful that these things can sway either way depending on what the outcome is. This one right here, by the way, ended up selling at 4 o'clock in the morning. All right, good rule of thumb: do not end your eBay listings at 4 o'clock in the morning. This was actually an organically auction bid up item that only managed $70.25 with 23 bids. Sure, it had a lot of activity, but because of how early it was in the morning, no one put in what was, kind of the market. That market right now is $100 to $150. But is this the norm? Is the chatter around social media and everything like that scaring a few people from buying these? We do have a few more to talk about, so stay tuned for that. The next one that we have here, it's not a great looking coin. It's got a black stain on there, which is quite distracting. It's like the first thing that my eyes kind of gravitate towards. But anyways, it's a 1981 Lincoln Memorial cent. It's about 60% off center. So it might be a date that someone needs for their date collection. These are commonly collected by date or date runs. So, there is that appeal to it. This one right here, even with that stain, sold for $25.25. And here's one of my favorite varieties. It's actually quite easy to find. But if you're a fan like me of going through bulk Buffalo nickel lots, I know a lot of dealers. If you go to a coin show, they'll generally have these boxes full of these that they're selling for $1 a piece or something. Look out for this one. This is a really nice cherry picker's guide variety. So it's on the 1936 Buffalo nickel. It is a San Francisco minted coin, and you're going to look for the S/S RPM. This repunch mint mark has a pretty nice, clearly defined secondary S mint mark that is south of the primary mint mark. This is also FS 501 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. And this one sold for $28. So if you cherry pick something like this, which by the way is like a low-end VF, you buy it for $1, you could turn around and make many times more off of that. And if the coin is at least problem-free, you're going to do really well reselling these. These things will always sell. Since they're in the Cherry Picker's Guide, they're so dramatic looking and they're incredibly clean, even in low condition. This one, circulated a little bit. I've seen a few of these over the years on this 1976 D Lincoln Memorial cent. Specifically this date and mint mark because it's a tough one. But you can see the cut die break there at the base of Lincoln's bust, which pretty much covers VDB if it was there. But anyways, the cuds are king right now, as I've always alluded to. And every time you find one of these, you're going to do really well. So even this one, with all of its circulation wear, still ended up selling for $49, which is a very, very large amount of money for the size and shape of the cud. Usually much bigger cuds command that kind of money. Our first piece of currency is this, the 2006 $5 bill. This one right here is on the list because it's a decent low serial number. It was, 1812. It's like the War of 1812. It's got some associative ties to it historically, which is pretty neat. And, someone, maybe a few people will pay up just to own that piece of history. It's also a star note, so that's another worthwhile thing to also keep in mind. Low serial number with the star, you have a pretty nice combination there. This note, even though it's a $5 bill, a little bit higher denom than what I like to play around with, still sold for $41.25 with 23 bids. Outstanding sale. There's a little bit of a back image. It does have a little circulation wear, so outside of that, the note's in pretty good shape. Man, I had this one on my watch list, and I thought about bidding on it, and I missed out. I was off doing something else, and I totally dropped the ball on this. And it's my birth year, 1978D Washington quarter. It's missing the complete nickel obverse clad layer. All right, so because of that, the planchet is going to be a little bit thinner. You're going to get a general overall weaker strike. As you can see, you have a little bit of weakness on Liberty, around the rim area, to the motto, to the date, and then also on the reverse as well. All right, so it's definitely an underweight planchet. Probably weighs about a gram less than what it should, which is quite substantial. Anyways, this one ended up selling for $59.95 with 16 bids. Again, a little salty because I really wanted this one, but there you go. That's the final outcome, and it's going to go to a good collection. And from the same seller, we also have this 1967 Washington quarter. It is broad struck, and it's also got a straight clip. So a broad strike occurs when there is a malfunction with the collar, which in itself is a die. But that collar or ring keeps the coin in place during the strike. All right, and the collar is ultimately what has the reeds right in there. So that's what produces the gripped edge of the coin. In case you guys didn't notice the little lines on the edge. But yeah, this is a dual error, very attractive, nice condition, and a pretty big sale here. $122.45 with 16 bids. Pretty nice. I like it. All right, we also have another piece of currency. This is a 1995 $10 bill. I believe this is the final year. There might be 1999 was the final year of the small head on a $10 Fed Reserve note. But this one right here looks to be miscut or off-center. But more appropriately, it's a misaligned second print, which is that base black print on the front of the note, but you can see that the overprint is actually centered right on the paper. And then when we look on the reverse, it's perfectly centered. So there is a sheet shift when the first amount of print was applied to the front of the note. And, with all things considering, that turns into a rather dramatic looking error. So this one ended up selling for $47.02 with 15 bids. So there were a few off-center coins this week. Just wanted to let you guys know that these are out there. Some exhibit some circulation wear. So again, this is playing into the fact that some folks have messaged me and had said, quote unquote, you can't find these in circulation. But there are a fair amount of them that have hit the open market in varying degrees of grade. So they are out there. You just got to know that they exist in some way. But also you could cherry pick these at coin shops and shows. This is a 1981p. It's about 20% off center, I would say, maybe 25%. This one sold for $55.25. This is a great date to have if a date collector doesn't have it yet. Not too common out there. All right, so here's one that we've talked about as well on a few occasions. I actually did a few currency videos here in the last week or so on these stars, and they have the over-inked star is what it is. So the little dot that's in the middle of the star is over-inked and filled in. So people have called them filled stars when they sell them. But if you need a little bit closer look, that's what it looks like there. And people have tried to counterfeit that by taking a little tiny green fine tip Sharpie and actually just keying it in there and filling in that circle. But it's a drastically different green, all right? And it's pretty easy to point out when you're looking at them. But anyways, this one ended up selling for $24. So if you find one, and it's a high print run star, but it's got a filled star, whether it's this one or the other set of serial number, just know that's worth way more than $1. And this one right here is simply missing all of the green inked parts of the overprint. The black district seal and the 4 5s that you can see, the tiny 5s that are on the left and right there, are still present. It's just the green inkwell ran out of ink. So it didn't produce any serial numbers or the green district seal on this 1995 $5 bill. This one, pretty nice sale, $350. A little look at the back shows virtually no wear. This note, I would say, was probably crisp uncirculated. And we also have a silver certificate. Always look through these because dealers do overlook them. Now on the front of the note, it looks like a standard run-of-the-mill silver certificate. It's got the blue ink, which is, kind of a place marker for silver certs. And when we look at the back, geez, another misaligned print. This time what they call this print 1. They produce the printing on the reverse of the notes on the sheet first before they do anything on the front. And a little bit of a misaligned sheet here on this. This one right here sold for $155.25. Now we're on back to some coins. Here's one I just had to throw up on here. It's highly unlikely that you'll come across a coin of this condition out there raw. Oftentimes these are already graded, but this is a 1928D repunch mint mark Standing Liberty quarter by Coins and Cards. Always throttling out some pretty amazing coins. When we look at the Denver mint mark, you can see the secondary Denver mint mark is punched north of the primary, plus you have some other things going on there. Very nice. I'd say all in all, the coin sells really good even in this condition without the variety, but when you throw the variety in there, it makes it doubly more desirable. This particular coin ended at $358.53 with 30 total bits. So very, very nice coin. I like this one. Well, here's another 2023 Lincoln Shield. You guessed it, Extra V. So, we talk about a few of these here today to give you insight on the pricing. So this is actually really good photos, first of all. Even without doing the close-up, you could see that little Extra V there at the base of Lincoln's bust. But here's the little close-up there. These are indeed 2 coins, but they were selling just 1. So this particular coin ended at $150. I think that's their start price, and someone just put a bid in on it. And the coin, again, is very attractive. If it went off to grading, it should grade out relatively high, maybe 66 or 67, and that's where you need to be on these. So here's a slightly off-center South Carolina statehood quarter. Now, we've seen a few of this particular state on here. They're not particularly rare, and this one I would say is quite minor. You could say it's a off-center strike or a broad strike. It could go either way. It's that close. It's a Philadelphia, so that makes sense. This one sold for $20.98. So again, it looks like it's circulated for a fair amount of time. Not a beautiful coin, but it is suitable for someone needing an example for their set. So here's the other Extra V. I think that might be the only one. Yeah, we had 3 of them on this list, but there were others that did sell in varying degrees, and they're all within range. This one right here looks like it had a little bit more circulation wear. It's got a pretty noticeable, I guess, gash right here, right on Lincoln's jacket. So when there are better examples currently in the market, I'm not going to say it's flooded, but there is a good amount of supply to fulfill demand at this point. But when there are others available that are much cleaner than this, you're probably going to put this one on the back burner. That's just my personal opinion. So even with that still, it did command $103.99. This was actually a buy it now listing at $99.99, and then they just tacked on like $4 for shipping. Still, I mean, it's still within range, $100 to $150, but I think we're beginning to see the actual average kind of drop down into the like 110s on these coins right now. There was also one other example that sold for around $91. So, yeah, I didn't bother to put that one on here because, we're already flooded enough of this coin. I didn't want to do any more than 3 for today's PCMR, but there you go. Again, use your due diligence. If you want to own one of these, okay, there's probably a couple reasons why you would want one of these. I actually have two of them for myself, and I intend on grading both of them through NGC just so I could get that extra V place marker on there. But that would be one of the reasons. I just want it in a graded holder. So if it turns out it is debunked as a mint error or a variety of some sort, then I'll still have the slabs with it on there. And there's not going to be too many that are graded anyways. So that's going to make them a little bit extra special. But I would say over time, if this turns out to be, say, an ejection mark, which happens post-mint, then, it's still going to be it's still going to be sought after as being a kind of unique oddity, I suppose. So having it in a graded holder with that on there is going to be icing on the cake. Not saying that that's what you guys ought to do. That's my personal kind of goal in all this, is to have at least two examples in a graded holder. So yeah, I mean, that's one reason. The other is just to have one, so that way you have something like that. But as of right now, there have been a few other examples where there's been another similar shaped V in other areas. Like there was one that was found where that V is far to the right on that bust, probably a good maybe half-inch to the right of where that extra V is on this one. And then there was another one where they claimed to find another V on top of the V in Victor David Brenner's initials. So they've been found kind of like in various areas. So that's why there's been some of this revised kind of talk about, hey, what is this really? Is this during the minting process? And they're kind of leaning as to it not being the case. There you go. Pretty easy to spot here with that one. So here's a nice little cud. However, the coin is pretty rough. It looks almost corroded in a way, but it could be just dirty. It's the 1981 P Jefferson nickel. And this one sold for $25.74. And again, even in this condition, they're still going to be scooped up. Alright, so this is probably one of the coolest wet ink transfers I've seen. It's very strong and robust, but it's a back-to-front wet ink transfer. There was some impression of ink on the impression cylinder that transferred that onto the notes. So consider it a version of like a die clash for paper money. But you can see it's a full, complete 100% wet ink transfer. The back of the note's clean, but does show some circulation wear. So with all that being said, this one sold for $257.99. Wow, that's a pretty big sale. You usually don't see these for over $100. Well, there's our Crown die chip. This is the bargain, I guess, listing of the week. I've noticed the trend that these have been falling fast price-wise. You guys would probably agree with me that this is a relatively decent looking coin from a grade standpoint, but you can see the big die chip right on top of Washington's hat on the reverse, which is cool. I mean, they're still cool 2 years later, but get this one ended up selling for only $30. $30. It wasn't a buy it now. They put it up for $30 start bid, and it went the course of 5 to 7 days, and they only had one bidder, and that was it for the $30. So, pretty crazy that these things have dropped so far. These again, a year and a half, 2 years ago, were at $150 to $200, and if you guys watch my PCMRs back in the day, you'll see the trends on these. There's a close-up of that. Again, very nice large-sized die chip. This one really needs no introduction. We have a really big, just gnarly broad strike here. 1984 P. Yeah, where was that collar, man? This thing flattened out like a pancake. And the coin is in really phenomenal shape. Really nice high-grade example. $94.99 was the sale price on this, and because of how big it is, it's probably as big as a $50 at this point. The bigger the broad strike, the more that they're worth. Alright, so we haven't seen one of these in a little while, but we have what looks to be a 1982 Lincoln Memorial cent. Looks like a strike through, and it is. Not by grease, though. This was a late stage cap die. So there was actually a coin stuck to that obverse die. And it was striking a bunch of coins with it on there, almost like a hat. And this coin right here did do some circulating for a while. You can see the stains on the reverse, some carbon spotting. This one right here sold for $51.08. Here's another cap die, but probably more along the lines of a mid to later die state. You don't see any letters or a push through from the die devices onto the coin. It's very mushy, and there's no brockage either. So this one right here sold for $45.95 with 13 bids. Keep in mind with a cap die strike, it's going to look like this on one side, and then the reverse is going to be very well struck. All right, there's going to be no similarities there. And a rather minor error, this time on a Ike dollar, 1972D. Again, errors on these larger size coins are quite rare and very desired. Even one as small as this. You can see the rim clip there by the motto, "In God We Trust," and then a little bit of Blakesley effect by the T and Liberty, that flattened rim area, which is common on these. But how about this? $43.50 sale price here on this one. Yeah, you didn't know that they sold for that kind of money, whereas a comparable Lincoln Center nickel of the same date would manage maybe $8 to $10. Okay, I feel bad for this guy, but at the same time, whoever bought this lot scored pretty big. But the seller had pitched this one free on a couple of the coins. And the other two, if you're not up on your error terminology and what they look like, you could get crushed. But the 4 coins you see here were all struck through grease, and that's how the seller promoted it. You have a bicentennial Ike dollar, which looks really nice, and that one is one of our legitimate greaser coins. And then the 1963D Lincoln cent at the bottom right corner is another struck through a lot of grease coin. However, that leaves the quarter and the nickel. So let's start with the quarter. The quarter is actually a 1970D. If you guys know anything about these, 1970D was the year where the mint accidentally punched out dime thickness stock for quarters. So this is actually a coin here that was struck on dime thickness stock. A very nice major error. These typically sell for around $100. So that by itself is like king here. But let's go back here. So the nickel, much like the other nickel that we saw and the Lincoln cent, the last couple slides, that is not a greaser. That's a coin that was struck through a very late stage cap die. That coin by itself, and I think they had a date of 2000 on there, which makes sense. That coin by itself is about $40 in that condition. It's a very nice high-grade example at that. So between the quarter and the nickel, that's $140. And then you have a really major struck through grease Ike dollar. Like, look at the reverse of this thing. It's crazy. That coin by itself might be about $75 to $100. And then the Lincoln cent, you're looking at about a $20 bill. It's a very nice, strong error. So this 4-coin lot, and this is why I tell a lot of folks, look out for them lots. Okay, either people don't know what they have and they're bulking them out, or whatever. All right, so this 4-coin lot sold for $72.90 with 17 bids. I mean, do you guys even believe that? This is an instant 3x after fees and shipping. This is a home run deal for whoever bought this. The seller, unfortunately, didn't know what they have, and they just assumed, oh yeah, these are all struck through grease because they all have considerable amount of weakness. But lo and behold, that was simply not the case. So someone's either going to have a really nice start to a great error collection, or they're going to flip these and make some mad money. So there you go. Just a really incredible, very powerful buy here. A couple more coins. We're done, folks. 1951D Lincoln Wheat cent, a very earlier tough date. for off-center strikes. This one's off-center by about 25%. This one sold for $46 with 22 bits. And there you go. We have another one of those 1970D Washington quarters struck on dime stock. We have another one here. You can see some of the weakness around the devices on the obverse and reverse of the coin. Yeah, I mean, this one looks to be in pretty decent shape, and these are considerably thinner compared to a regular 1970D Washington quarter. $106.98 was the sale price on this one. Again, these are a real easy $100 bill for every time you find one, and they pop up when you least expect it. They are a really good surprise. But there you go. Oh, it's 4.3 grams, which is considerably underweight for a Washington quarter standards. But that's it, guys. That's all we got. A lot of stuff, man, happening from the Tulsa, Oklahoma show to the Whatnot coin auction to just the 2023 Extra V Lincoln cents and, everything going on with that. Wow, what a time to be in the hobby. Craziness all around the community. So I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of the PCMR. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to today's video if you haven't done so already. And check me out on TikTok as well, at Blue Ridge Silverhound. I thank you guys for tuning in. Best of luck in your hunts for the rest of the week. And I hope to see you guys at that Tulsa, Oklahoma show if you're going to be, traveling. So you guys take care, and I'll see you on the next coin video.